street seat typologies that you can see across the city, but they all do have a few elements in common, like those amenities I just mentioned. I do also want to point out that street seats are they're a permanent addition to the roadway. This is not a pilot program or a seasonal program. Once a street seat is implemented, DOT considers that a permanent update to the street. Benefits are expanded public space. They can reduce congestion on busy sidewalks. They convert car space into people space while optimizing visibility for cars, cyclists, and pedestrians. They calm traffic along the blocks where they're installed, and they also provide daylighting at corners, as you will see when we get to the drawings in a little bit. So a few of those standard elements that I mentioned. Typically, the street within the street seat boundaries will be resurfaced with epoxy gravel. That's one of DOT's standard pedestrian space surface treatments. You've definitely seen it all over the city. It's that lovely beige color we love that signals to drivers that this is not a moving space for vehicles. It's a pedestrian space. All street seats feature visually permeable edges so that people in the street seat and outside the street seat can see each other, help drivers see their surroundings, and people be aware of their surroundings while they enjoy the street seat. There are also a few vertical elements that I'll get to later, including planters that both harden and protect the space for safety. And like I mentioned, a very standard element of street seats is this movable furniture, typically these folding bistro style furniture that you can see here. And just one more note on the design elements. For safety, we install edge objects, which include planters. They also include granite blocks. There's a mixture of those in this proposal. And the street seat is outlined, the pedestrian space is outlined with double white lines, which signal to drivers again that this is not space for vehicles, it's space for pedestrians. And along the double white lines, we install flexible delineators, which again just reinforce that boundary. So now some more specifics about the site context and what the proposal includes for each of these four intersections. So here you can see the drawing overall with all of these elements called out. And now we'll look at some existing conditions. So here we're on Amsterdam Ave. We're looking north across 135th Street. You can see the bike lane just proceeds straight, adjacent to the moving lane through the intersection. And like I mentioned, the proposed design is that it will angle in towards the curb here, proceed next to the crosswalk through the intersection, and then angle back away from the curb, going back next to the moving lane on the other side of the intersection. Here we are looking south. Similarly, the bike lane would angle in towards the curb here, proceed through, and then angle back out. Here's that drawing. So you can just see in a little more detail how we're proposing bike lane angling towards the curb here and there. Here on the north side, we're proposing a Jersey barrier to harden that boundary between the moving lane and the bike lane. Here on the south side, we're proposing a quick curb. And here we are a little further north on Amsterdam. We're looking at this corner of Amsterdam and 136, specifically the northwest corner of the intersection. And here we are at 138th Street, similar corner here. And these are the drawings. This is an existing curb extension that's already there. And these are the two new proposed curb extensions that will both feature bike corrals. And granite blocks on either end for hardening and safety. But as you can see, they also shorten the crosswalks a bit, make it safer for pedestrians, while also providing convenient bike parking for cyclists next to the bike lane there. And finally, to the street seat site, here we are at 139th, looking at City College's gate here, and looking down 139th across from the street seat. Here's that drawing. So this section down here, we're thinking of as the street seat. As you can see, there's a few tables and chairs deployed along with planters. And in these two spaces on Amsterdam and on 139th is where we're proposing for two bike corrals to go. Over here, this is just a curb extension with no particular elements deployed in it besides granite blocks on either end for hardening and safety. We wanted to go over operations and maintenance of the space. So the street seats, you can think of them in many ways as an extension of the sidewalk. Basically, the same rules that apply to the sidewalk apply to street seats. The furniture there is open to the public. We'll talk a little bit about when it is deployed in a moment. But just like the sidewalk, no smoking or alcohol is allowed in street seats. No commercial activity is allowed, although other community events and activations might take place inside a street seat. And then this movable furniture, we intend to be deployed and secured by a maintenance partner, who in this case would be City College. And then that partner is responsible for the maintenance of the space overall via that maintenance agreement with DOT. So, like I just mentioned, DOT and City College anticipate signing a maintenance agreement, which would mean that City College is responsible for the daily operations and maintenance and upkeep of the space. That includes sweeping, litter picking, cleaning, daily furniture operations, putting out the furniture in the morning, securing it in the evening, maintaining planters, removing snow and ice, maybe pest abatement, other tasks like that. And just one thing that I want to mention about the daily furniture deployment, DOT expects that furniture will be deployed every day of the year. In our spaces around the city, we deploy furniture 365 days a year unless there's inclement weather. If it's raining or snowing, or if it's too cold or too windy, we don't necessarily expect that furniture will be deployed. But other than that, our expectation is that City College will put that furniture out every day and secure it in the evening. Now, what the exact schedule of those furniture operations might look like, that's more up to City College's discretion. A pretty standard schedule would be 8 to 5, 9 to 6, something like that. But again, it depends on City College's capacity for taking care of those tasks. But again, DOT's expectation is that that furniture, that amenity would be available to everyone every day. And then lastly, here we are at the project schedule, June 4th, making this presentation. Over the summer, conducting some pre-implementation outreach ahead of an intended implementation and beginning of operations in the fall. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Awesome. I have a couple questions. So before we open it up, so yeah, I wanted to to ask y'all actually, City College, about the operation or the maintenance. So it is expected to be daily. I know that gate is frequently closed and everything. So are y'all are expecting to operate, maintain this daily, and put the chairs out?
Yeah, I think the intent is that the details of it, in terms of like the schedule and the time, it's going to be driven a lot by our capacity to do some of that work during certain hours. But I think the intent is to, make it as accessible as possible. I think the gate, for the most part, remains open. I know because my office is right next to it. So that is really our intention to, as an expansion of the public space, to keep it open and accessible.
Okay. Thank you. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a question. So 139th Street is is the intersection where the fire department is located as the fire truck.
Yeah.
That's a really busy corner. Is there discussion or consideration about, let's say, 140th Street between Amsterdam and Convent?
I think that would be a DOT question.
Yeah. Let me play.
We selected this intersection really to align the street seat with City College's campus, and like Jorge was just mentioning, kind of consider it an extension of the campus and a public asset. But I do want to reinforce that the street seat is not just for City College community members, it is for everyone. It's for the general public. But this intersection came to our attention because of the desire to sort of improve the public realm, assets of City College's campus and the surrounding streets, which is why we selected this intersection. 140th is also a bit busier than 139th in terms of traffic. So we've done some preliminary auto turn examination. There shouldn't be an issue with a fire truck making this turn here into the firehouse, as you noted, is over here on the block. But yeah.
Okay, I think we should do some outreach to FDNY and to, also I'm concerned about Fumo on that corner too. It's like quite a busy restaurant too. Have y'all done outreach to that restaurant?
Yeah, we haven't done any outreach yet, but this is their outdoor dining structure marked on the map here. So we are definitely aware of the way that they use this intersection and the sidewalk.
Okay, and one last question, I'll open it up. And the bike corrals. I'm interested in this, in y'all, in the installation of them and the use of them. Like, how often do people use? I feel like I see them on like 141st a lot outside the park, and like there's never a bike on them. So I'm just curious of like the usage of the bike corrals.
I would say in general, typically bike corrals are pretty well used. One reason why we wanted to install these as part of this project is we want to increase the bicycle infrastructure around here. That's why we're pairing bike corrals with both that and the offset bike lane crossing, just to improve conditions for cyclists overall. I think part of the thought is that if we improve conditions for cyclists, people will cycle around this neighborhood more, but also strategically placing these two bike corrals right outside of City College's campus, as well as these two bike corrals right outside of the playground here. So we see those as both sort of bike traffic generators, which is why.
And who cleans inside those in the bike corrals? Because sometimes trash accumulates and everything.
Yeah, so since these bike corrals are on the west side of Amsterdam, they would not be covered in a maintenance agreement with City College. So this would be, a DSNY maintenance task.
Got it. Okay, I'll open it up to the committee. Just a reminder, we do have City College here. They're going to talk about the gates, so just an FYI. So go ahead, Juan.
Yeah, I want to know if, what's his name?
Clay.
Have you walked the area?
Oh yes, yeah, I've been. I mean, I was there just a few weeks ago. Even I was honored to be a panelist for the City College STEM Institute's awards ceremony a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so you've seen 139th, right? Have you
Yep.
seen how massive those trucks are?
In fact, I took one of these pictures earlier here of the gate. But yes, I've seen 139th. Yeah.
Okay, because the colleague here was saying you're reducing the area where the truck needs to go, and people double park a lot. That's why I'm asking you, whenever somebody comes from the city and talks to us about projects that they already decided on, they never walk the area. And that gets me really angry, because all the beautification that you're doing is very, I guess, contrasting to how we use, or how City College uses Convent Avenue. You know what I mean? Because I moved into Harlem in '93. I went to City College. I work in the area. I'm a high school teacher in that area. And I doubt that somebody with these projects walks the area. We had City of Yes come repeatedly last year and the year before, but they never worked this area and see what the people are doing with the neighborhood, you know? And that reflects a lot on the people who presents these projects. We had Amsterdam Avenue just repaved. Most of the street didn't need repaved, but I mean, it looks good, right? So, come again. I'm done.
Okay. Other questions? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I have a
Oh,
question.
can I just add one thing? I mean, thank you for that comment. I appreciate that. But yes, we do intend to do pre-implementation outreach. We have surveyed the area already.
Oh my
Just
God, you
one small
haven't even
detail
talked to the
that
businesses, bro.
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, forget it. Keep talking.
He's asking
Okay.
if you talk to any businesses.
That's part of our plan for over the summer is to do pre-implementation outreach. But one thing I did just want to mention is that it is a citywide DOT policy to remove parking at what we call the top of the T in any intersection. So if this is, the T of the intersection, it is now DOT policy that there should not be parking here. So really, projects we're doing all over the city, we are intending to remove this parking right here. So that, ties in nicely to DOT citywide policy here to convert that space specifically into pedestrian space.
Yeah, and Clay, I remember you saying we're going to lose about 11, 12 parking spots, roughly.
That is correct, yeah.
We need to
And
talk
that's
to the
that's
people
spread
who
out
live
across
that
the
way, right?
proposal.
I mean, you're taking very expensive parking spots from people who live in that area. And my need, people in my building are senior citizens. Sometimes they need access to a car or an ambulance to get through.
Yeah, what
What
happens,
do you mean
Clay?
expensive?
What happens, Clay, when like during the
those
pre-implementation process, if there are issues like from residents or from the restaurants or?
I'll talk about it. Yes.
Yeah, well, these plans, this is our proposal, but this does not necessarily reflect 100% the exact condition that we intend to install. If there is a serious issue that comes up during pre-implementation outreach, we can adjust this proposal as
Oh,
well.
okay. Yeah.
But I don't believe there are any residential buildings, um, maybe right here, that are next to any of these spaces. This is City College campus. This is, these are the playgrounds. So there's really not a whole lot of, see, there's just a fence here. There's not a whole lot of changes that we're proposing directly outside of any residential buildings. Besides, again, maybe right there.
So kind of, I sort of have this thought question. Why not consider that seating on 140th between Compton and Amsterdam? It's primarily City College. I think it's kind of odd to have a seating area where it's the thick of rush hour traffic. And I agree, you have a lot of big trucks there. Also, Brotherhood and Sister Soul is the sponsor to the Johnny Hartman Plaza. There's been ongoing issues with noise and kind of homeless hangout. Why would that not happen here? And if it does happen, how would it be addressed?
Well, one thing that we've mentioned is that the furniture is intended to be secured in the evening, so there would not necessarily be places for people to sit overnight. Um, Besides that, like I said, the same rules apply to street seats that apply to sidewalks. So if there are any violations, the typical enforcement options do apply here. But I think, part of the intention of having City College as the maintenance partner here is that beyond just maintenance capabilities, excuse me, responsibilities, City College will serve as sort of, our connection to this space. They will keep an eye on it for us and let us know if there are any chronic issues like that, in which case we can always reassess the amenities that we've installed and if they're appropriate.
And can you speak of the question about putting it on on Convent, like in City College instead of on Amsterdam?
There is already a decent amount of public space on Convent within City College campus. This is really, like I said, this is meant to complement City College's campus, but this is a public space for everyone. If we put something like this on Convent Avenue, that would be definitely that would attract more of a City College community, which would be fine. But again, this is intended not to serve only City College, but to serve the whole community. And we've also chosen 139th over 140th because 140th does pass through. That doesn't dead end like 139th does here, or I suppose begin. So there's actually more traffic at that intersection than at this one.
So when I talk about 140th, I'm talking about the area between Convent and Amsterdam, which would be the end of, or the beginning of City College.
If I'm not mistaken, I think City College has occupied most of the parking lane there with construction staging. Is that right, Jorge?
I think there's one trailer there now that just was deployed maybe 3 months ago. We're talking about 140th, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there is one construction trailer there, but it's for the duration of the project, right? So
But you could add that on top of this as well, maybe.
That could be a separate proposal that we couldn't consider working on with City College. But again, there are a couple of reasons to place it right here. It aligns with the City College gate, but it also, like I said, supports DOT's citywide policy of removing specifically parking at this kind of intersection in this location.
Okay, we have a couple more questions and we have to wrap up, so go ahead. You got a question?
Oh, there's a mid-block crossing on Amsterdam. If you go back a slide on.
Yes. Yes.
Is there any, yeah, is there any way that you could add safety measures for people who would like to use that crosswalk?
Like an elevated crosswalk?
No. On like the extending the sidewalk there, maybe placing some boulders, removing some parking to improve the sight lines. Because I use that crossing and it's you can't see cars coming, and it'd be really nice if you could improve the sight lines.
Yeah, we could consider doing a curb extension on either side of the crosswalk here. You know, I don't know if we would be able to move the bike lane, so it would just be 8 feet of space on either side. We could consider doing that. One thing I will admit, our granite blocks are very much at a premium right now, so we've included about as many as we possibly can in this proposal. I don't know if we would be able to spare 4 more granite blocks at this moment. But this mid-block crossing is definitely something that we have considered, and I think improving safety conditions here is definitely worth considering.
Yeah, you would get a good return on investment.
Okay,
Yeah.
Victor, you're the last question, then we have to move on. Victor?
Yes, good evening. Thank you for attending and thank you for bringing this project to our attention. It just seems that most of the decisions have already been made, listening to you without input from the community or the community board. One of the gentlemen there in the audience already pointed out the number of cars that do park in that area. I know you stated that there's not many buildings there, but I'm in that area often and there's very little parking. So that might be something to be considered. I know the city is not favorable with cars these days, but there are still people that use them, especially seniors and people who work outside the city. That area, if you come around in the evening, say around now, you can't find a parking space there. So that will impact. The other thing I was looking at is bike corrals on the sidewalk. Some places I know have them on the sidewalk where they have enough room. Is that something that could be considered?
We could consider adding additional bike corrals in other locations on the sidewalk. When we add furniture to the sidewalk, we have to consider pedestrian clear paths,
Mhm.
which have different requirements based on the volume of pedestrians in the area. If I am correct, I believe this is a pretty high pedestrian volume area. I don't know the categorization off the top of my head, but my guess is that in a setting like this, there are enough pedestrians that our requirement is basically to leave the entire sidewalk free of additional furniture. But one other benefit to installing it in the roadway like this is that we get to do these curb extensions, shorten the crosswalks, and you know, improve pedestrian safety as well.
All right.
Okay. Hopefully you'll just take some of our comments to heart as you move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just last thing, I think you need to walk the area and you need to go up to 141. And I need you to go during heavy traffic so you can see how people are speeding all the way up and down 141 between Edgecombe to Riverside. They're going all out. And I have been in meetings here where people have asked for even just a light on between St. Nicholas and Convent because the traffic is non-stop there and people can't walk. And I've seen ladies with their kids and their strollers and their dogs and trying to get to Convent. You need to do your legwork, you know, surveying somebody. I don't know what that means. You talk to people, you walk the area, you talk to people who live in the area. How about that?
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, thank you, Clay. Yeah, I actually almost got run over the other day. I almost got hit on Convent and 141st, like while I was running. It was like I missed it by this much. It was crazy. But thank you so much, Clay. Really appreciate
No, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you so much.
Yeah, and Lyle, if you could stick around, we just wanted to let Clay do his presentation, but we'll circle back to you.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So next up we have the 26th precinct. Everyone?
Hello, good afternoon, good evening. How are you?
Good afternoon. Good evening.
How's
Yeah. I got you more.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
Doing well. Well, I just wanted to stop by to say hello, good evening, and I have good news. The 26 is getting prepared for all the events that is coming up in the summer. We have a very busy summer, a lot of events coming June, July, and August, and we are preparing each and every day. Overall, crime is being consistent in the 26. We're even for the 28 day or for the past month. So 56 total crimes this year versus 56 crimes total last year. But year to date, we are still seeing a decrease in crime overall. And so I'm happy to report that as we go into the summer months.
That's great. Thank you, Kat. Yeah, go ahead. Oh.
No, that's all. Do you have any questions or anything specific for the 26?
Yeah, any questions for the
Yeah,
26th?
I have one question. I was running in that area. There seems to be a patrol car that's stationed on 125th near Old Broadway on a daily basis with the lights on. What is that in regards to?
The Dwayne Reed. That's a problematic location where larcenies are being happening right there at Dwayne Reed each and every day. People steal from Dwayne Reed, so we try to keep a car there to prevent those larcenies from occurring.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, Gretchen. And then I think I think your issue's in the 30th.
I'm now 148, 143rd.
Yeah, that's the 30th precinct. We'll go to the next. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, go ahead, Gretchen.
Hi, Captain Moore, it's Gretchen. While I know that the tragic crash that happened at 109th to 110th was technically not in the 26 precinct, it was milliseconds from being in the 26. So I just wanted to ask if you have any thoughts or if the precinct has any plans to increase enforcement. The entire month of April, the 26 only gave out 6 speeding tickets, 0 bike lane tickets, 0 bus lane tickets, 0 tickets for improper or missing plates, and I think we all know we can step outside and see one of those things within a few moments. So I would just like to know if there's any plans to increase enforcement or change our existing enforcement of traffic collisions.
Well, we're very fortunate that the 26 have had 0 fatalities working on our 3rd year in a row. We have a very effective traffic safety program, and we continue to do the best that we can with the resources that we have. A very unfortunate incident that occurred in the 2-4 precinct where someone lost their life in regards to someone that was drinking and driving. Very tragic, and it can happen anywhere. But there was an arrest made in regards to that in the 2-4 precinct. And as it relates to enforcement in the 2-6, we are doing enforcement in the 2-6. And as I like to say, if you compare our numbers for officers this year compared to last year, we're down 15 to 20 officers. So one of the things that I would love to talk about is the lack of resources that are here in the 2-6. And I ask for more resources, cops and cameras. Those are my 2 things that I ask, and any effort that I can put, cops and cameras. Because from last year, 2025, we had 95 cops. Now we have 75 cops. So we're doing amazing work on all fronts. And I'm happy to report that 2-6 is continuing to improve and moving forward in the right direction.
Excellent. Thank you for letting us know that. I don't know if anybody else in this room knew that the numbers were down that much. I think last thing we heard were headlines about celebrating that we were back at capacity and graduating record classes and stuff like that. So it's helpful too when we know that, because when we interface with the electeds and stuff, then we can help to repeat that message so that we're all sort of speaking with the same voice. So that's really helpful.
The last time I was there at the community meeting when we had the Morningside meeting, I did express that same numbers. Talking about the decrease in numbers. So I did that when we were there at Community Board 9 last month. So we are speaking that, we are having that conversation, and we'll continue to spread that message. Thank you, graduate. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's it, Captain Moore. Thank you so much, and
Yeah,
good to see you, Detective.
Yeah, Detective Lewis, is there anything from your end you wanted to let us know about?
On my end, just want to say we had a great, successful month as far as like community outreach goes. With our elderly, in the month of May, we had a very successful Mother's Day boat ride where we were able to take community members from the 2-6 and some residents of the 3-0 precincts as well. Um, on a Mother's Day boat ride along the Hudson. We had in attendance over 125 older adults from our community that participated in this event, which was great. This is our 4th year doing it, and I'm glad to say that it was another successful year. Um, Outreach base, we are doing several outreaches inside and around Morningside Park area as we receive those complaints through Community Board 9. We are working with our teams diligently to be able to effectively test those outreaches there at the location. I have personally visited the location of West 110th Street, um, 16th Street along Morningside Park area, and I myself have not seen the homeless or drug use in that area. So I would like to begin back with Community Board 9 and Community Board 7 to get an understanding of the time frame in which they do see these individuals at that location, because from my understanding and from my knowledge of what I have seen, I didn't see the individuals there that we received a complaint about. So just to dive in that a little bit more, if we can get a time frame around that, maybe I can do some community engagement during that time. I think that would be a good task that. Um, yeah, I think that's it on my end. I think that's all pretty
Yeah, Yutha, you have your hand up.
Yes, good evening. Youth Prince, District Manager. Captain Moore, you mentioned in the beginning of your report that you're prepping for summer events. Would that prep include Harlem Summer Stage, or should I be directing that question to the 3-0?
Yeah, no, I'm
good.
not about the summer stage. Now, when I was talking about summer preparations, I was talking more about FIFA. I was talking about the Knicks, and I was talking about Cell 250, which will be coming up the Hudson.
Okay, so there won't be Harlem Summer Stage at the Harlem Piers on under the viaduct, or not that
No.
you know. I can direct it to the 3-0 if not.
Yes. So the Harlem, I think you're speaking of. Are you speaking of the Uptown, uh, the night Uptown Market? Are you speaking of that, Miss Prince?
In addition, I was told that the Harlem Summer Stage was coming to the nighttime market. It's, I guess, a series of concerts or something.
Okay, so that has not been confirmed yet. That's not on my radar or in my list of pending events. So if it is in the works, it hasn't been submitted officially to us yet.
Okay,
The only
thank
thing
you.
that we have been made aware of is the Uptown Night Market, which will take place in the confines of the 3-0, but it borders the 2-6 as well. But the 3-0 precinct will be taking lead on that. And Harlem Pride will be in the 26th precinct, as well again this year, in and around surrounding areas of the Fairway Market and 12th Avenue. That's what major events we have for, and then we have our bike race, our CRC Grants Tomb bike race this month. Um, uh, and that will take place at Riverside Drive as an annual event. But those are the two events that we have so far for this month.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Real quick, because we got to move on, but go ahead, Victor.
Yes, good evening, Captain Moore. Victor Edwards here. Quick question. I had sent a message to Sean Abreu's office regarding our conversation about more officers. I hope to be meeting with him shortly, so I will definitely bring this up again and note the reduction in officers that you have. So I will definitely relay that message to him. Secondly, have you had any luck with traffic enforcement on 133 between Old Broadway and Amsterdam?
Okay, so last we spoke, I had reached out to traffic enforcement. They did come up, they did do enforcement in that area. As you know, that body shop is in the confines of the 3-0. I did speak to Captain Johnson in regards to setting up some type of joint operation in the future, but I am waiting on Captain Johnson to take the lead since those body shops are in his command.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
And
No problem.
also, April, one more comment. Captain Moore, CB9 will be working on our budget priorities. Budget season is coming up this fall, and we're prepping for it. I will be working closely with the Uniform Services Committee, and we will be submitting requests for additional officers for the
Thank
2-6
you so
as well
much.
as the 3-0 and PSA 6.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Awesome. Thank you, Captain Moore. Thank you, Detective Lewis. Officer Streamer with the 30th Precinct. You're up.
Good evening, everyone. Officer Stumer from the 30th Precinct. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person today. I'm covering a demonstration in Central Park, but hope all is well. A few quick things. Overall crime in the 30th Precinct right now is on a decrease year to date, about 5%. So we're looking to continue that trend. Notable incident that took place last Friday was a shots fired incident at West 145th Street and Broadway, where a security guard at CVS unfortunately had to discharge his weapon in defense of customers there due to a dog that was attacking people in the store. He was placed under arrest, unfortunately, due to expired license for his weapon, and the owner of the dog was also arrested with additional charges to follow. Otherwise, that just like the 26th precinct, we're also looking forward to a very busy next 2 months here. We have a couple of FIFA events taking place. We're expecting a very, very large turnout for Sale 250, which, for all that don't know, is a very large boat, military boat, historical boat show taking place throughout the Hudson River, the New York Harbor. So we're expecting a very, very large turnout for that. And obviously, Riverbank State Park and Riverside Park will be one of the key viewing points for that event. Otherwise, that the 30th precinct, we are also experiencing some similar staffing issues that the 26th precinct is experiencing, but we are very, very fortunate that in the next couple of weeks, we will be getting back some of our foot posts that were very, very well liked last summer along Broadway, and we will be returning. We kind of lost some over this winter time and springtime, but we're very fortunate that come July 1st, July 2nd, we will be getting those officers back on foot along Broadway. So we're very looking forward to that. Otherwise, anyone have any questions?
Yeah. First up, thank you for attending virtually, even though you're super busy. We do have a resident here that would like to talk about some concerns that she's having with the establishment Broadway Tavern. So I'll give you the floor. Yeah.
Hi, good evening, officer.
Can you hear her?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
My name is Michelle. I live on 3495 Broadway. It's a big residential building on 143rd and Broadway. It's a great building. It's always very well kept. And it used to have the Hamilton Hall bar right there. As of April, apparently management has changed without us knowing about it. Residents were not notified of it, and the new owner or the new management completely changed the operating hours of the bar, and now they're open until 4 in the morning almost every day. Actually, they are open until 4 in the morning 7 days a week, if I think of it. And they've, for some reason, extended an outdoor seating area that we were not aware of. And so we have drunk, loud people almost every night just hanging out till 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm sorry?
Oh, it's his walking.
According to 311, the noise complaint log, there had been 21 different noise complaints April 11th and last 5. And they are absolutely obnoxious, We cannot sleep. I'm right above it, but the rest of the floor and the floor above me, I'm second floor, the third floor, everyone is very, very upset about it. The new owner never even introduced new hours to the residents. They never introduced themselves. They never asked about the seating area. Even when they do close, some of the time, they just leave the tables out, even after the bar is closed. And you have people just like hanging out in their car, listening to music and smoking and yelling and still back and forth. It's basically impossible to sleep.
Yeah, I totally understand. If one of the board members wants to share my cell phone number with you, um, we can schedule a meeting with myself, your building. You know, are you co-op? I don't know if you're a rental building, whatever type of organization you have set up there. We can definitely schedule a meeting with you guys, kind of go over what we do when it comes to situations like this, whether it be, you know, something simple as meeting with the bar management team, making sure that, you know, they understand that they're good neighbors in the community, or it can go as extreme as, you know, issuing summonses and referring them to SLA. But, you know, we're more than happy to sit down with their building and kind of get the message out there as to, you know, what the expectation is amongst the community.
Of course, the previous manager used to have a curfew. The bar would close at 1 a.m., which was completely fine. They kept their door closed. They kept noise inside. We would like for that to basically be the same, and for the outdoor seating area to be completely eliminated. Because it's just impossible to manage it.
Absolutely. We can definitely share.
And I can definitely look into to see if they even have a permit for outdoor dining. I know that's not an easy permit to get. That's not easily given out. So I can definitely do. And if they are doing it without a permit, then I can definitely refer it to the Department of Transportation.
Thank you.
And we'll make sure to have representation from CB9 at the meeting that you and the officer
Thank
schedule.
you. That'd be great. Thank you.
Of course.
Lyle, do you know if, because Hamilton Hall may have had a sidewalk application, you know, when they were under management, when an establishment's ownership changes, don't they have to reapply for a sidewalk?
The liquor license expires in July. That's what we do.
Hey, Lyle, can you hear us?
Sorry. I can follow up with my colleagues in our open restaurants, or sorry, our dining out division. I think you have to apply every year for a permit. So if it's under new ownership, if that's the case, then we would need to be notified. But if you're looking for a status on this restaurant, if you give me the information, I can check to see what the status is on our end to see if they have any valid permits or that sort of thing if necessary.
Okay, I'll email you after the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we approved the liquor license, do you recall if we stipulated 2 a.m. or 4 a.m.?
I don't have. Yeah, I'm gonna look. I don't see them. I'm sure they've got to be in here somewhere.
No, they just notified us of the
corporate
ownership change.
Yeah.
I visited Carmen de la Rosa's office last week, and they also made a few calls, and that's how they were like, they actually happened to.
Another one at 55 Laurel Street, apartment 540.
Yeah.
David.
I don't see it in there. Time. Okay. Thank you. I have the number. I'll share it with
They're
you.
supposed to use good judgment.
David.
You can check the recording too, because I think he said he was gonna keep the hours of operation the same, if I recall, but they gotta check.
Okay.
So just as a quick comment, some of the other community boards, I think Gretchen referenced this, they stipulate an hour. So that might be something going forward for us to bring forward. In order to approve the liquor license, it comes with the requirement that they will operate no further than, say, 2 a.m.
That's correct. That's what I was gonna say.
Absolutely.
2 a.m. is the cutoff point.
Yeah.
We have 22 at 22, 15 First Avenue.
Jeremy?
Yes.
It's David Shargani from The Getaway. How are you?
Hey, sir, how's it going?
Good, good. Just two quick questions. Is Captain Rose still there, or Captain Johnson's the new captain for the 30th?
Captain Johnson's the new commanding officer.
Okay, no, I just gotta get to know that. And then the other question I had was, for the night, are there any prospects for night patrols to patrol within the park, or no? Like after midnight?
Yeah, no, it's part of our plan for spot checks of the park. If you guys are reopening for the season, we'll make sure that it's added to our officers' spot checks for the nighttime patrol. Normally, we have officers checking the lower level of the park, but I'll make sure that it's added that they check up top as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. I think that's it, Officer Stimmer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, and looking forward to a fun summer. Let's go.
Yeah. Go next. All right.
What I would tell you also, what I would recommend is, tell your neighbors in the building to, if you're getting these quality of life issues, you have to put in tickets to 311.
I do, yeah, absolutely.
But not just you.
Yes.
Other people have to do it as well.
I do, I ask around, I do it kind of, gently. Many of them just don't like to complain, or they're elderly and they just realize that maybe that there's nothing they can do about it. So I knock on doors and I ask them politely if they're bothered by it, and if so, could they please, and when they wake up during the morning, put in the 311 request.
Yeah. Is there a tenant association in the building?
I don't think so. We have a great superintendent and the management company. They're also trying to do something. They keep talking to them, and every time they do, we see a bit of improvement, and then about a week later, they just go about
Did the new owner take over by assignation, or did the lease run out and he took over?
I have no idea.
It was for change because Mickey got sick, and so
Exactly.
this new guy.
So it happened during the lease, probably.
Yeah.
So
I think
he's
they're
probably just inventing his own hours.
They've been flying under the radar. We know
Yeah,
that.
that's not good.
We realized that as soon as we figured out that the liquor license expires next July, this July, we're like, oh, so you haven't been asking for anything
No,
yet.
no.
You have
Exactly.
not been.
Yes, and you should show up to that meeting. When they come and ask for that license renewal, you should be.
How do we know when
will
they
they
do
if
that?
we don't have
You will keep touch with us.
It'll be on. It will be in.
So my
it's
knowledge,
in-
the community
yeah.
board votes on that. And they-
Exactly. That's
People in your
Yeah.
building need to come to that.
Yeah.
I serve,
Especially if it's a persistent issue.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally almost every night.
I'm on 151st Street.
Yeah.
I shut down liquor at 10, and then I close by 11.
That's what needs to happen
Yeah, I mean-
with ours. We have other bars around. They're all
Hundreds
closed
of
by
them, yeah.
1 a.m.
Yeah.
And we're talking loud one, like the Bliss Bar, which is also on 143rd
Yeah.
and Broadway. But
That's on the other side.
Yeah.
Southeast side. They're loud.
Yes,
but
they are. Yeah.
come 1 a.m. that there's nothing.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. We do have to move on. We're gonna go next to CCNY. Thank y'all so much for coming.
Before we go
Yeah.
then, we do have quorum now, so you.
Oh, okay.
should
So,
call the meeting to order.
so we're gonna call the meeting to order at 7:28 p.m. To have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Chris. And do I have a motion to adopt the minutes? Sorry, y'all. They came like 30 minutes before the meeting started. But
With friendly amendments and corrections.
perfect. Do I have a second?
Second.
Perfect. Awesome. Great. So next up, we're gonna hear from City College. Thank y'all so much for coming this evening. We definitely would love to hear an update about, we have some concerns regarding the gates and some of that, so we'd love to hear from you all any updates you have on that.
So
thank you.
why don't you tell us share with us your concerns
Yeah.
about the gates so we can kind of get a sense as to what the collective concerns are or have been about the gates?
No, absolutely. So I think they kind of popped up and we were like, oh, what's going on? We thought they were gonna be temporary. They're definitely lasting longer than that. It definitely gives like an
Point of order.
Oh, hey Ted.
Yeah, you need to take a vote on the acceptance of the minutes.
A vote. We did. We said.
Unanimous.
Unanimous consent. Is that what you
All
mean?
right, that's fine, but
Okay.
I didn't hear that.
Okay. Do I have a second on the unanimous consent? Okay.
Sure.
All right, perfect. Okay, thanks, Ted. You keeping us together.
Any objections or?
Yeah.
But yeah, Ted's right.
Oh, I didn't know
We are
that. Did we do that?
If we all are in agreement, we're supposed to say unanimous consent.
Okay. All right.
Briefly, just to clarify, you're using the word gates for the purpose of clarity, which gates you're referring to?
Oh, they're like the, on the entrance into convent, the gates that they kind of look like a, like a door now, instead of, like, you have to kind of go through a doorway now to get on the sidewalk. And of course now too, they have the barricades on Common itself during operating hours, so kind of have to use those, the doors to City College in and out. But yeah, we had concerns about like, accessibility with like wheelchairs and things like that as well. And I'll open it up to the committee. I know that we've talked about this for a while, so if anyone has any specifics too, please share. But
So the gates that would, sorry.
Go ahead,
I think it's
was that Victor?
Yeah, sorry, can I jump in for 1 second? April, I had communicated to Provost's list regarding these gates and the fencing because I received calls from the people who live on Carvin Avenue. And they said it was a hindrance to people walking through, people in wheelchairs, parents with baby carriages going through. And I asked if they could move back and be kept to the side. So if you need to deploy them, you could do that quickly rather than having it where it is now, which seems, it puts residents off. It's not that it's totally closed. It just seems like it's a hindrance to people walking through. And that was my take. He referred it to Anthony, who's there this evening. I appreciate that coming. But like I said, I received quite a few messages from people who live in that area that pass through there every day. So that was the impetus originally for this, along with other people's comments.
All right, thank you, Chairman Edwards. So yes, the gates that are there now replace the gates that were there previously that had just gotten to the point where they were not effective, they're not efficient. Some of them were broken, some of them were laying to the side. So looking at different type of fencing that allowed both deployment efficiently and quickly when needed, but also allowed it to stay in place in some sectors, but also allowing for the public to go back and forth freely along Convent Avenue. That was sort of the emphasis for what you see now on Convent Avenue. That's, I believe you're talking about the ones at 140th Street and Convent Avenue and ones closer to 130th Street and Convent Avenue. Right. And those fences or gates or pass-throughs there are the two areas at the North Campus that don't have a native or natural gate, not a natural gate, but a native gate there. We have gates on the entrances on Convent, on Amsterdam Avenue, sorry. And those were the two areas that we needed to put something in to be able to implement, closure to the campus or monitored entrance to the campus as need be in the form of when we have protests or maybe other activities in the area. On Convent Avenue itself, so those gates openings are ADA compliant, so they allow for wheelchairs, strollers, anyone going through. They are obviously not as wide as having the full sidewalk open, but they do comply with the ADA compliance to be able to access through those openings.
Have you ever seen somebody in a wheelchair go through that?
I personally have not.
You have?
I personally have not stood there.
Oh, you have not.
So I think the question is, can those gates be moved to the side, sort of in a folded fashion or something, on both ends and on both sides of the streets?
Something we can certainly take back to consider.
Okay.
If that can happen. What adjustments can be made, we can certainly talk through that. Just before we get back to your question, you spoke about Convent Avenue being blocked off the street. So that's something that's always been in place. There's that between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. that has been in place for years upon years to help with the decreased traffic flow through Convent Avenue, especially during the busiest times of the operations of the campus Monday through Friday. Outside of those hours, the street is open for regular parking and access, and on the weekends as well.
no, absolutely.
No, that's a different thing. This is the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just talking
excuse me.
about.
I didn't make that comment.
I've seen people with wheelchairs unable to get through. They have to go on the street where the cars are going, right?
Yeah.
So I saw a lady with her kid. The kid went to City College, and she had to negotiate with it looked like where slaughterhouses type of entrances. and she barely made it through. And she had to move her bags and put it on top of her wheelchair. You know what? People are not cattle. People are not animals. They need their spaces open. This is a sidewalk. It belongs to the United States. It doesn't belong to City College. The treatment of people is very disregarded by CCNY. I've been there since the 90s, you know what I mean? So I've seen what's happening in that area.
And just actually, I'm not even sure that is ADA compliant. I think that would require an expert. That piece at the bottom cannot be there. If you look down, it's like a threshold. It almost looks like a trip hazard. So I'm not convinced.
There's actually a little ramp.
Yeah, no, there's no ramp. It's a little.
You're talking about the black
a little
rubber
yeah,
lip underneath?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, it's metal.
It's metal. And I was looking at it the other day. I'm not sure it would qualify.
I'll double check, but I know that there is a little threshold that allows you to transition from the sidewalk onto the metal.
No. This is the actual doorway.
Yeah, the actual frame.
Yeah, the actual doorway frame. So the real question at hand is, can those gates, all four sections, be moved to the side? Because it looks like they're designed to be quickly deployed if needed. It's just, I think it's being held in place by sandbags or something like that. So
they have weighted bases.
Yeah, so I don't think it's like you have to like deconstruct or they're not cemented or anything like that. So that would be very much wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not referring. So there is another section on Amsterdam where the steps are located. I don't think we're referring to that section.
You're talking about the Convent Avenue pass.
Yeah, we're just talking about both ends of Convent on both sides of the roadway.
And we got complaints about someone in a power chair, you know, like it's a wheelchair with like a motor.
They had issues
getting
through the
getting through the opening. So they had to get onto the
just thank you. That's the picture. There is no threshold.
No rubber.
Yeah.
It's just metal.
Of course.
Yeah. So I'm not sure this is ADA.
Because it's not level.
Right.
I think the gap here is probably less than half an inch.
But certainly listening to what everyone's saying, I think one of the primary issues here is obviously the access for safe access to wheelchairs and walkers and other things. So we can certainly take a look at what flexibilities we would have with the gates and how they may or may not be able to be positioned, but we can certainly take a look at that with the
And I think you're in the historic district, so it's sort of a degrading also of the historic district. And I think one thing we could consider is actually landmarks, because that's definitely not a landmark compliant gate. So I think one nice way to handle it would be just kind of to fold it and put it to the side. I can't believe it would take more than 30 minutes if needed to kind of everything.
And what is the timeline on it? Like, is this like a permanent, like for? Oh, okay.
No.
So this is, but because of course, like you said, it was like in order to protect students or like around during like the protests and everything too. So I know like they just had graduation and everything. So are they coming down anytime soon, or are they staying up?
So we will try to assess, I think every probably 6 months or so, until what's happening on the campus, the community as well. As everyone knows, those fences and gates are passed through full scale board during and following the protests that we had a couple of years ago. We had protest activity up to I think the end of April this year as well. So we also have to take in mind that we do have ongoing situations that do come up through the semesters for spring, you know, and try to keep in mind how we also have to be prepared to be able to secure the campus when we need to be. But certainly happy to go back to take a look at what's currently there and how we may be able to look at positioning it differently or being able to better accommodate the community being able to pass through at the times when maybe a lot of activities happening.
Yeah, and I think too, just for context, and I'm sure y'all know too, like, I think there's a sense in the community that a lot of public access is being cut off because what we're dealing with, like Columbia University, and they close their gates and people can't cut through anymore and things like that. So I think it's just kind of like this overwhelming sense of just like, you know, our space being taken away. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, and just so you're aware, there were residents of the community that when they saw those gates erected, they felt that, oh, I'm not. They don't have an affiliation with City College, So they felt they couldn't go through there. And so there was no signage that said yes or no, but they just felt that, oh, that's something, the college, it's only for the use of the college.
Visual perception.
Yeah, the visual perception.
And of course, the college always welcomes the community, and a lot of the community, as you know, comes, they sit on the quad, they on the lawns, they enjoy the campus. So
yeah, and we actually told the users that, the residents that came to us, we told them that they were free to go through there.
Okay.
I guess that in one particular case, it was around the time frame when there were some protests, and I think there was a guard stationed at the entrance of that kind of what do you call that, the entryway.
Hospital.
So they were looking at the time they were looking at IDs.
Okay.
So this person was a resident but not an affiliate of the college. So then they were turned away.
Understood.
But we understand why you have them up there. We're asking you to reassess.
Solomon, the sidewalk belongs to the United States government. Nobody should.
All New York, yeah, all residents should be able to walk.
Let's just get that clear.
Yeah, and I think
Protecting the community from the community.
and they're going to work on this. But I think another thing too, to add to the access like that. And this is not y'all, but Hamilton Grange, for example, they lock their gate now on Mondays and Tuesdays. So it's just like it's just like, I'm sure that actually affects y'all students too, actually. I don't know if y'all have like a working relationship with the National Park Service, but like I see students trying to come through there on Mondays and Tuesdays and like
it's locked.
It's locked, so they have to go down and then walk back up 140 first, which is like very, but it's just like this kind of general sense of just like locked out and we're not welcome kind of thing. So.
We like to be good neighbors,
Yeah.
and also keep in mind that the community is also an integral part, and we are an integral part of the community. So
Absolutely.
we'd like to keep a very good working relationship. So we'll take a look, we assess and see if there's anything we can do. We certainly get back to the board and to the chairman on his questions that he also submitted.
No, that's helpful. But I think that's all the questions, right?
Thank you guys.
So thank y'all so much. Really appreciate y'all coming out.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
We get passionate, we're like.
And thank you for sharing that, because sometimes we're there and we may not always get the sense of what the community may be feeling. So we appreciate the board and the subcommittee bringing those items to us.
Absolutely.
And thank you for partnering with DOT on the street seats. That's really nice. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be really.
Although I think you should include one.
Oh yeah, make it
40th
bigger. Make it
between
yeah.
Common. That would be a perfect street, by the way.
Yeah.
140 between Common and Ashland.
Yeah, I agree.
By the way, Pat and Anthony still around on public safety?
Pat, Anthony's still there.
Okay.
Pat, I don't know if he's back as yet, but Anthony's there.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. We're gonna move on. Next and last, I think we have DOT, Department of Transportation. Lyle, that's you.
Evening again, everyone. Lyle Dogger from DOT. I just have 2 quick updates for you this month. First, in regards to the off-ramp by 125th Street on the Parkway, I've mentioned before that DOT has been trying to coordinate with Amtrak and the Parks Department to try to get this off-ramp open. I'm happy to say that we've made a little bit of headway regarding coordination, and we're trying to move forward this summer with temporary make-safe measures to get this off-ramp open, ideally by the end of this year. After that, we would still need to coordinate with Parks and Amtrak regarding a more permanent solution. But the upcoming make-safe measures that are to be done during this summer and fall should be able to suffice in the meantime. So I know it's been a while since any movement's been going on here, but it looks like we're finally starting to get some coordination, at least from others. And we should hopefully have this taken care of by the end of the year. But any updates as they come in, I will definitely pass them along to you. And quickly, second, just as a heads up, our roadways crew will be milling and resurfacing MCB9 late next week. They will be working on West 141st and 144th Streets between Broadway and Riverside. So early next week, you should start to see some flyers out on those blocks just to indicate when the crew should be there. But towards the end of next week, we should be on those 2 streets. So I'll send over a notice to the community boards, ideally tomorrow, just so that everyone is aware and can coordinate next week accordingly. But just wanted to give a heads up to the committee that we should be back in the CB9 for a portion of next week, next Thursday and Friday. So that's it for this month. Just want to wish everyone a happy summer, and if you need me for anything, I'll still be around, even though we won't have any meetings between July and September. But you know where to find me, and if anything comes up, I'm more than willing to assist if necessary. So thanks.
Yes. Lyle, we have a gentleman here from an establishment named the Getaway 151. They're located on Riverside Drive and 153rd? First? Sorry, 151st. His name is David Shargani. He owns the restaurant. You might be familiar. Remember, there was an issue with like buses going over a particular area of Riverside Drive. He's on the lower level of Riverside Drive, and there were issues with buses going over this particular area, and it was causing structural issues for his restaurant. He's still having these structural issues, and unfortunately, when it rains heavily, the water leaks down into his establishment. So I know we don't have MTA here, but he's spent a good amount of his own money trying to do what he can to keep his establishment structurally sound, and he is looking for some assistance from city agencies to help kind of restore the structure on the upper level, where there has been a lot of wear and tear, and the buses still continue to go over this area, even though he himself has put in some work to get the sidewalk and pavement done in that area. He also has some needs for electrical for his establishment, and he's been told that DOT is they control the electrical grid for that particular area, and he doesn't have enough electrical capacity to help his establishment. So he was trying to see if there was a way to get a feed off of the same, circuit that is running through that area that DOT has. He's willing to pay for that work, but he's been getting nowhere the last couple of years regarding electrical for his restaurant in that area. So we're wondering what you can do to help us help David here. And David David, feel free to speak up.
Hi, Mr. Blackwood. Hi.
I remember having coming across this a couple of years ago. Now, from my understanding, if I remember, did you have a conversation with my colleagues in our street lighting division? Because I think that, from what I understand, this is on the park side, so I think you referred to the parks department as far as any issues with the structure or anything within the park area, but I'm not sure. I that's as far as I know, at least last what I remember as far as the last conversation we had.
Oh, okay. No, you and I never spoke. Whoever I spoke to, it started with there's a room within the rotunda. It's like a castle, and the room belongs to DOT. It has DOT's electrical conduits that go up to the manhole cover upstairs. So we had Con Ed come out about 3 weeks ago, and Con Ed said that everything that they have is on Riverside Drive, and then the park's electricians confirmed everything on the other side of Riverside Drive is DOT's property. So that in essence was end of that. I can't tap into your line I can't bring electric from across the way, so it's kind of a catch-22. The only thing I could do is, if you guys were willing to open up the second line that was cut, because there were 2 conduits at one time, I could establish a separate meter and obviously pay for my own electric, but it would save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because we would have to. Parks doesn't expect me to do it, by the way. It's over $1 million job to pull it from across the street and dig a trench to establish new lines. So, but then again, it is the property of DOT, so I don't really have the right to ask you to decide otherwise. I'm looking for some help.
What I can do, the only thing I can do, at least from my end, I can try to put you in contact with our street lighting division. And say, I think you've had some conversations with them in the past. If it's DOT property, they would be the ones, at least on our end, to make the final determination as to true jurisdiction agency wise and potential next steps, whether that's being able to potentially tap into the grid or what that may be. So if anything, I can leave my contact information in the chat, or if April or Solomon, they have my information, they can connect us, and I can try to connect you with my colleagues in street lighting to see if maybe this conversation can move forward, if that works.
That's very kind of you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, go ahead, Warren.
Riverside Drive, that is the focus here, Lon. It's 151st and Riverside Drive. Whose jurisdiction is that?
Well, depends on the side of the street. Theoretically, all matters along the west side of Riverside, if it's along the park side, would be under park's jurisdiction. Anything on the east side of Riverside, as far as infrastructure, theoretically would be under DOT's jurisdiction. But again, everything's case by case depending on the situation. But if it's on the west side, usually the main agency to start with would be parks.
It is on the west side. However, he put a lot of money on that concrete. And then, I don't know who cleans that area. It's DOT, I think, right? Or,
no, we
sanitation.
don't. Yeah, that most likely sanitation. Yeah.
Yeah, sanitation threw salt on it and destroyed the concrete. I asked him if he could put a layer of paint on that, but that is an incredible amount of money for one business to put out for nothing, for nobody to respect that area. And he's doing so much. Every weekend you see a venue going on in there. And it's very important for the people because it slows down crazy bikers and it allows people to have an extra space to hang out. The music is very important for us. We lost St. Nick's Pub. It was a great jazz pub on St. Nicholas Avenue. And this is the only venue that we have where people can actually play live music. I know that's irrelevant for DOT, but it's very important for the community life. Lastly, Mr. Edwards and I asked you a month ago about the light post on 149th and Convent, right outside 460 West 149th Street.
Yeah.
We still haven't gotten anything done on that.
I actually got an update about that this afternoon. Apparently, according to our street lighting division, that's still with Con Ed. Apparently, there's a structural or foundational issue at the base of that street light, which is why it's taking a while in order for it to be addressed. But we're working with Con Ed in order to see if we can move that forward. But that's the most recent update I've gotten, and that's of literally this afternoon. So it's on our radar to be worked on moving forward. We're just trying to get through the particulars of Con Ed. But this is a well-known light pole on our side, and we're trying to see if we can move past this quickly. But both agencies are involved, so hopefully we should have an update for you fairly soon. But they are aware that this light's been out for a while, so that's the most recent update I have, and that's literally as of this afternoon.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the
April, can I jump in for a second, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, Lyle, good to talk to you twice in one day. I feel honored. Um,
Good to see you again, or talk to you again.
would you be willing to come out to see the facility the gentleman's been talking about? He has provided a great resource. I rode my bike by there today, and during the summer, I come down there and patronize. I would really like to see us help him make this thing go forward. As he said, the concrete was done with some issues with that, and we definitely don't need the buses. So maybe we can get parks and, sanitation there for a meeting with yourself so we could square this away and get him the electrical power he needs. I'd really be helpful if we could square that away.
I can try to see. Let me see. I'll run this past my colleagues in our street lighting division. They would have to be there as well. They
Okay.
would know a lot more about this location as far as from an electrical standpoint than I do. If my colleagues in street lighting are willing to participate, I will let you know, and I can join
Okay.
them for a subsequent walkthrough. So I'll get back to you, Victor. Just give me a couple of days, and I'll see what we can do as far as site visit next in the near future.
No, yeah, and I think that walkthrough, I think we should have elected officials present as well, and the MTA. Like, this has been ongoing for too long.
2 years, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And Mr. Edwards,
Yeah.
thank you for the kind words, and I just wanted to, illuminate a little bit what the getaway is to Mr. Blackwood, because I think if he knew, he would be right there with us. I use the forum for people to be there. I don't charge, for the entertainment, and I allow all entertainment to play there, art shows, theater, and it's all free. There's no free spaces left for the community in New York, and I pledged that from the very beginning, whether I made money or not, that I would keep that promise to the community, because I believe the community is the reason that we survive. We survive on each other, and I need to provide for them as best I can, and I have sold every brick and just pawned all my stuff and everything. I put $400,000 into that place, and I have never asked anybody for help. And it's hard for me to do it now, but it's either that or I go belly up and I fail, and I really don't want to fail, because failing at this point would be unimaginable for me.
We need to get Donnie involved in this. I mean, clearly this is all the agencies like, no, this is you, this is you, this is you. Should do something about this. Have you reached out to the media?
No, because I feel like if I reach out to the media, then I'm going to make enemies like that. I've tried to do everything in-house and quiet. I wrote the MTA numerous times asking them what a great PR this would be, that they fixed this, they caused it, right? So but they never, so I have to end up going to court to sue them. I used my own money to fix the sidewalks, and just when I did it, the garbage trucks drove on it and they threw salt on it and they destroyed it. And then a few months later, I fixed it up again, and some dump truck dumped 10 tons of rock on top of my sidewalk by mistake.
Yeah, he has the video too.
I have the video for everything, for the bus, and it's cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars of my own money that I didn't have for this, just to keep, because if I don't fix the leaks, I can't open the restaurant. Now it's leaking, and now I'm closed. I haven't done anything for the last couple of weeks. I have to figure out what I'm going to do. So this is why I came to the meeting today. And this very nice gentleman here, Solomon, was the reason he told me I should come. So I don't know how much I can have faith in what's going to happen from this, but it's kind of my last Hail Mary, because I've done everything I could do. There's just no more. There's nothing left,
Yeah.
Well, we should do an event, a MCB9 event.
Yeah, man.
And
After the walkthrough that we do with elected officials that are coming down and look at this mess.
And the previous
Yeah.
mayor didn't do anything for you, so.
Agree.
So we have to reach out and help you, because you're doing a lot for us.
I've said no before to, there were drug dealers that came down there 3 years ago and offered me $250,000 to wash money through that place. And I said no. As much as I need money, I will never take bad money. So I mean, I've done everything on my own time without anybody's help. It's just, you know, it's like, you know, or like whack-a-mole. I do this and then something else happens and something else happens. And it's city related. It has nothing to do with me. But I have to pay for it because I'm the concessionaire.
Okay, yeah, like I said, yeah, I'll be in touch. I'll see if I can, get my colleagues to agree to a walkthrough soon. I hear you. I'll be in touch. I'll see what I can do for you guys.
Okay, thank you, Lyle. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Lyle.
No problem.
That too. Thank you. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
No, of course.
It's not the money.
I want to see you get help.
I know.
I just don't want to fail.
No,
So
we
many,
don't
so many
see it.
things I want to do there.
We're in full support of our small business owners.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
All right.
I think that's all the questions for Lyle, so thank you, Lyle.
Yeah, thank you, Lyle.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, we have one action item, a new liquor license application for Columbia University Business School, the H. Travis Hall. It's a catering license for catering line liquor.
I don't think they're on.
Nobody here from Columbia?
Table.
Yeah. Motion to table the liquor license application and temporary retail permit for Columbia University Business School. Travis Hall.
it.
Unanimous consent?
Any objections? No objections. All right. It is tabled till next month or next meeting, I should say.
Oh, we didn't talk
I was
to.
ready to deny it.
Yeah.
We tabled it before too, didn't we?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, well-
technically it was something else, though. It was like.
The
No,
George.
that was
I
the
think
George,
it was
but
the
this
George.
was like a full year ago. Like right when the gates were closed and we were real sore about it.
No, but this wasn't the business school.
That was the president's house.
Yeah.
It's something different, yeah.
Sure.
Do y'all have each other's contact information?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have your email. You emailed me before.
I know. I was just looking through and I couldn't find it, but we'll take it.
I'll send you another
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Old business?
Yeah, old business. First up, quality of life issues related to billiards hall. So we should have talked to the 30 about it, but.
They're on it. They're aware of the. So we got emails and complaints from residents that are above the billiards location, 3428 Broadway. Not the first time we've heard of it. Unfortunately, it was a bit quiet, and then it has started up again now that it's warmer. Captain Johnson did respond to the email. He's currently out of the office on vacation, but he did say he will have his officers patrol the area. There's supposed to be an event there tomorrow in the evening, so they're going to keep a lookout and kind of monitor that area to see if they adhere to the volume, because they went and checked. They did like an inspection during the day and tested the sound system, and I guess there was no noise. The noise level was not past the threshold. But what we were told by the residents is that when they have an event, the DJs or the musicians that come in, they bring additional equipment,
Yeah.
and the additional equipment is what's causing the volume increase and the bass. And so when they do when either NYPD or DEP does the inspection, it's not like they're not above the threshold, but they're not doing the inspection during a live event. So maybe they can do that this Friday if it happens, but again, this particular owner has consistently kind of skirted the issue.
So this might be another case back to Gretchen because I think we approved the liquor license, right? Recently for billiards, or there was some issue?
There was the issue for the place next door.
Oh, next door, is to add stipulations, and sort of what, like Patrick has one, no live entertainment after 10, something similar. It would just improve enforcement opportunities, that's about it. But if he's a bad actor, the owner, That's just a difficult issue. And I don't know how it's structured, but a lot of the complaint is also on the backside because it's a lot of echoing. So it's not just the residents of the building, it's also the residents behind the building. So I don't know if they open up windows or open up doors or what's happening. But the folks in the back are also complaining.
All right. Anything else with La Maravilla Billiards? All right. Next up, Sammy's Law resolution. You want to put that on?
Sure. So it passed unanimous. Sammy's Law is local law. We passed a resolution in this subcommittee unanimously to support it. It passed an exec board, and we just wanted to sort of workshop how to bring it up to general board. The local, like it gives local control to municipalities in New York State to set a lower speed limit if they want to for all road users on residential streets. And the proposed speed limit would be 20 miles an hour because that would increase safety and prevent accidents and crashes. So, yeah.
Yeah, so the reason we needed to discuss the approach was when we brought it to exec board, it did pass exec board, but by one vote. Right. So that didn't give us the warm and fuzzies in terms of would it pass general board.
No.
I mean, that being said, like low traffic neighborhood, that passed by 2 votes at general board. I'm sorry, by 2 votes at exec, and then it passed, resoundingly through general board. Yeah. But you're right. Like the hunch is that it would be nice to have more support.
Yeah. So one of the things that was mentioned at exec was to put in some language into the resolution, kind of strengthening kind of signage, maybe putting in some not barriers, but like speed bumps, that kind of thing.
Yeah, street
enforcement. Enforcement was a big thing.
Yeah.
But we just heard that they have less officers.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, there's the instant reaction is like, oh, the speed trap or whatever. Like, I was happy to hear Captain Morrison that he actually wants more cameras because up until now it's just been like we don't have enough cops, but the cops have zero interest in actually doing traffic enforcement anyway. We know that. Like I said, 6 tickets for speeding in the entire 26th precinct, and there's already school zones there, so it's already like. So people getting worried that it's going to be a speed trap is just like it's a.
So what are we trying to add to that?
The one point that was brought up was that they were worried about potential idling and pollution because
right.
if they're required to slow down, especially if people are looking for parking, people may start idling and create more pollution if they're asked to slow down. Because they stay more in our district, especially if they're passing through.
That does not make sense.
That's what was, I'm telling, don't kill the messenger. This is,
Right,
Felipe was at that
we
meeting.
don't need to have a rational argument like based on non-coherent
We don't,
concerns.
we didn't think it would hurt the resolution to add some language, right?
Right, about how we also care about congestion and would like to decrease pollution.
Do we have to say we care about parking too?
Well, I think that we care about
We don't
pollution. We care about pollution, and we want less pollution. I don't think there's evidence that a lower speed limit leads to pollution. I would suggest that if somebody believes that they can provide evidence, that they can, show the studies that show that. The studies that I've read show that if there's a lower speed limit, there are fewer crashes. If there are fewer crashes, then there's fewer bottlenecks, and that leads to less idling and less congestion.
Can I say something else? If everybody's
There's actually ample evidence that lower speed limits lead to significantly lower pollution because the majority of pollution that happens isn't from the tailpipe, it's actually from the friction of the tires on the road and from the brake pads. So that particular matter that produces most of the pollution that a car emits locally is entirely it's directly correlated with speed. So lower speeds mean lower pollution. And frankly, if we add a thing about we should lower pollution, we should work to lower the additional pollution that lower speed limits will create. I'm worried that'll make us look like clowns because that's just so scientifically inaccurate.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
In Barcelona, they implemented a speed limit for anybody who went to the city. From the airport to the city, you couldn't go past like something like 30 miles per hour. And you could see who were the tourists because they were speeding through, and all the carabineros would stop them and would ticket them. And some of them would lose their cars. Everybody got to the city within the time they told you. They told you if you leave the airport at 5, you would get to Barcelona, midtown Barcelona, in an hour, and everybody did. So that's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, I did the math, and like from end to end, from 110th Street and 155th Street, if you go the speed limit were to go from 25 to 20, it would be an extra minute and 45 seconds.
So what are we trying to do with this?
I don't know. That's what we're talking about. Like,
We're trying to increase the likelihood that it passes exec.
No, that it passes.
Or that it passes.
It passed
general.
exact.
Right.
Can it pass general?
I mean, I hate to raise this as a suggestion because I think it's fundamentally wrong. But so I went to or attempted to go to the CB7, the very controversial CB7 meeting.
Is that about the bike?
It's not about the bike lane, but the fact that you said it's not about the bike lane shows that the opposition state. It's about the street redesign, which happens to include a bike lane.
Yes.
But people were very quick to say, you're a crazy cyclist just because you support the redesign. That's not necessarily true. Is a lot of the opposition was concerned that it was going to be permanent and that they couldn't do like a trial basis. So does it make sense for us to put in like a 2-year test? Like we'll revisit this. Like I feel like some sort of stopgap, and I would word it in such a way that the opposition. But that the opposition would have to prove that it's not working, as opposed to having it go up for a completely new, but like having it sunset automatically.
No, stipulate that it's a pilot, and that's it. The police
yeah,
department.
if 20 miles an hour is too slow, and there's too much pollution that comes from that, then we bump it back up to 25.
And after 30, you will die. If something hits you,
Literally.
and if you're on a bike, you are flying. If you hit something and you're going really fast on your bike, which I've done many times, you're flipping.
Oh yeah.
So if there's a pothole, you're cooked. If the speed is more than 30, you're done, man.
And if it's 20, you can walk away from it.
Yeah.
You're likely to live and tell the story if a car hits you at 20 miles an hour.
But one thing I've learned is that in Community 9, people are very resistant to change. And if you tell them that it's not a change, it's not that drastic, people are more willing to open. And also, if a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
So like we present like
I don't know if we can word it in such a way where it's a pilot, but not put an automatic sunset in it so that we would have to revisit it. Like it would perpetuate until it becomes problematic.
Right. Until we see there's evidence that shows that
increased pollution.
Increased pollution, or we were completely wrong and 20 miles an hour speed limit is actually
It's so dumb.
unsafer.
So can
That's not a
do we need to
decision
vote
by
on
the
that?
community.
Yeah, it's also-
It'll be driven by
we're gonna
DOT.
change
Right,
So
language
just
to
stipulate pilot and leave everything
Okay.
else alone.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
no
so then
mention
we
of
need to
pollution.
vote on adding that language to the resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor of
Yeah.
putting the pilot language in.
And no
I second it.
pollution.
Let's not go down that road.
All right, great.
you're
So
on the
I
right
got
track
it.
when you
Does
have-
anyone have any objections to that?
Yeah, he's gone. There was only one guy that brought that up, by the way.
Okay, great.
Okay,
So perfect.
All right.
Okay, so the other thing was is who's gonna present?
Yeah,
Because
not
I
me.
think if either Felipe or I present,
Yeah,
it's
not gonna go well.
yeah.
I'm also not gonna be there. I'm gonna
Maybe
watch.
you can lead off, Solomon, and we can just back up on data and go for it. We're
I
gonna
mean,
get
I don't mind presenting. I don't know if I'm the most welcome audience either. Or I mean, messenger
I
either.
don't mean to
crazy
lean on
cycler?
April, but like I think April could sell it. I mean, I'll be there with you, but I think
I'm
you could
really
sell it
like-
better.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
Like I kind of lashed out at the exec meeting where I was like, we're talking about people's safety here.
Wait, I'd like to see
People like-
that song.
Yeah, it didn't go well because then we got a lot of no votes.
Yeah, we got a lot of events.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
what
so-
happened is once the door opened up on pollution, it went sideways.
Yeah.
And then it became a parking issue. And you really know that's what this is being driven by.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
But how did it become a parking?
Same way it became a pollution issue.
Because it's
It went sideways.
the drivers feel like
It's
they're
an
attacking
anti-
cars. It's
it's a-
anti-car.
Yeah.
It's just anti-car.
It's pro
general,
cycles,
okay.
anti-car. Okay.
Even though it
Pedestrian,
literally
anti-
just has to do with like kids being able to cross the street and like.
I think some of 139 that they were taking all those spots. Like there are buildings right across the street
Yeah.
from that. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Okay,
All right,
great.
so are we all in favor of the pilot language?
I think so, man.
Okay. All right.
All right, next up on old business, bringing this back up from last month because Kip School, the principal, reached out about the reso, about using the Fairway parking lot for teacher parking.
So can I bring up something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this in the context of taking the curb space and not allowing any cars to be on the curb space?
No, they want teachers to be able to park.
In addition
the
to-
teachers park on the street right now, and they want them to be able to park in the fairway.
And what happened is the teachers lost parking when they put in the trash containers.
Yes.
Okay.
But they also
So
still
how
park.
many-
The
how many-
teachers
wait,
also
wait,
are
wait, wait.
parking on the playground.
Yeah, so wait,
Yeah.
so how many trash containers are we talking about?
You can see them right there. There's a bunch.
There are a bunch of
Yeah.
them, but it still was only like max 5 parking spots.
Okay, so
I think with this, I know like last month y'all had a concern about like if we're gonna ask Columbia to do anything, why would it be this, or like why would we
Yes.
want them to use it for this particular
The-
reason?
the
We
big
can't
issue was
include.
Kip School has not approached Columbia, and they need
Yeah.
to approach Columbia. and-
No, they have.
we're
They
not,
have.
but we're also not like parking brokers for them.
Yeah, but it's more like like that lot is sitting empty right now. So
Well,
if they,
there's storage on it. And
Okay.
like, if you allow motor vehicles and people to go into that lot, it might be like a liability issue, right? If somebody gets run over on that lot, like, it's like, I don't think Columbia wants that
But
liability.
you can't argue for Columbia, that's
Yeah,
your
I know.
decision.
Yeah.
But the question
Right.
at hand, based on the time that I recall, Kip had not approached Columbia, and I can tell you that from my conversation with Lofton Flowers. Have they spoken to Columbia?
according to Gabby, yes.
Okay.
And they feel like they're getting stonewalled. They haven't really gone anywhere. They think the letter of support might encourage them to utilize the space, to allow them to
So
utilize the
if
space.
they've had the conversation and now they're asking for support, I would support that. And let Columbia make the decision. So,
Yeah.
but prior to that, they asked us to go forward
Yeah,
first. So
exactly. Yeah.
I like, if they've had the conversation, great.
And I understand, like I said, right now that lot is sitting empty. I don't have an issue personally with helping teachers out, and we could also stipulate in the reso language there's probably 1,000 other ways, better ways to utilize the space, but if you're not using it for anything, please allow the teachers to use it if that's
Well,
if
that's what I
legal.
was gonna say. I mean, my hot take is I think it should be used, even if just temporarily, as an NYPD tow pound, because there's no tow pound in
Yeah.
Manhattan, so that's why cars don't get towed. I've been working on that, and a whole other thing, but
We can include that too, hey, this is just sitting
Right.
empty, can y'all look at, there are community uses that
Right.
would be great here, such as X, Y,
Right,
and Z.
yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sure there's teachers that take public transportation and, we're not helping them out. This.
Maybe
right
that's
now,
our
all of a
thought.
sudden, there's just a parking lot that.
Yeah, this benefit is only for the teachers who, I'm all for helping
I
teachers,
understand.
but this is only gonna help teachers who are choosing to drive to school and are choosing to park wherever they want, right?
And you know what's gonna happen if more people drive to school? More congestion.
More
So
pollution.
I think, I think we could do a reso around potential community
Yes.
uses for the love of God, do
Yes.
something with this empty space.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
if there's any, so we got teacher parking, tow pound, any other?
I would
Or
just-
maybe come back to the board and ask us like for
Yeah.
additional
Just go
examples,
with
yeah. Broad.
parking for now and.
Yeah.
And tow pound and.
Tow pound, I can tell you, will die. Columbia's not gonna wanna get connected to that, so there's backlash on that, so.
But there's no tow pound. So stupid.
And it's a charter school. Like, it's not even a public school. Public schools need a lot.
Charter is still considered public.
The thing that
No, it's not.
bothers me is that
They
they're
can-
already parking on the playground on the school property. And so, like, if that were to go away because they were going into this parking lot, then I would probably feel differently about
I
it.
don't see parking on this schoolyard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on the
I passed this thing.
Not this exact thing, but over there on
Oh,
like
I
the
don't know
center
about
area.
that.
Oh yeah,
I
they're
know
parked.
they park on the sidewalk.
On the
They park, there's like
On the
center
stairs?
section,
Yeah,
their cars that park there.
okay.
A charter school pays no rent to the city. A charter school can co-locate in your school and kick you out. A charter school gets paid by the government to pay the administrators. The teachers have no rights, no unions. They have to fight extra hard to get rights. A charter school, okay?
I know
Very
that.
different
They
from
are
my
still
public
teachers
school.
though, and it's not like they're getting paid.
Yeah,
like
and they live in New
regular-
Jersey, that's why they're driving here. You know what I mean? So
Well, don't we have a teacher shortage?
His point is there, it's
I
an
understand, I
independent school.
understand, I understand, I understand. I
It's a
understand.
private school.
Oh yeah, you said go
It's a
ahead.
private school.
Under old business, I'm sorry, I stepped away from my desk. I just want to make sure that there's no action items coming to the executive committee, nothing on billiards, Sammy's law resolution. Are we bringing anything forward to the exec meeting next week?
Yeah, so there is gonna be this, oh wait, to exec, I wanted to propose actually new business, a resolution in support of the getaway. I think we're
Okay.
still working on a fairway parking lot thing, but yeah, so we're gonna propose, we're gonna send y'all a resolution, or letter of support around that, yeah.
Okay, so nothing for billiards, no action item, and nothing for Sammy's law?
No.
And nothing for Columbia. Columbia,
Okay,
Yeah.
under liquor licenses, I know you guys are going on hiatus and Hakeem is on vacation. I would really hate for an establishment to have to wait until September. So when he returns on Tuesday, we may go over, we may in fact have renewals, not new applications, but renewals
Okay.
that we will present to the executive committee.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll make sure to circulate it to the committee, because if there's any issues, then we'll have to.
Yeah, if you can get me those on Tuesday, then I can ask.
Embed them with the appropriate precincts, sure.
Okay, yeah, we can make those checks.
Yuza, I have a question for you in new business, but it sounds like for the KIPP school, we still want a parking lot that, or do we want to do a reso in a general board around this?
do you want to do a quick vote?
I mean, I'd be in support of like, asking Columbia to, to open up the parking lot for community uses
Okay.
and leave it at that.
Would you be opposed to, for example?
No, not
parking
opposed.
for- Okay. Okay. Do
But
we-
for the benefit of everybody, sort of
Yeah.
like,
Okay. So do I have a motion? Wait, is it a motion? To make a motion?
Yeah.
Make a motion to vote on a resolution for community use of the Fairway parking lot that is currently owned by Columbia University.
For community use, as an example, the KIPP
Yes,
school.
yeah.
Yeah, actually, I would move that in. I like that idea. It's much broader and let Columbia decide. Okay, I go with it, yes.
Yeah.
I'll go with it, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Any opposition? All right, so we'll get that up too.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a good idea.
Okay.
Community use.
And then new business, we already talked about the getaway, which is great. The next thing I want to talk about, so I mentioned this a couple months ago, but I wanted to discuss possibly changing, and this is where you come in, Yuta, because I wanted to ask you like how this works, but I wanted to propose moving the day of the week of this meeting. because right now there's a bunch of Thursday meetings. Like selfishly, because I'm a co-chair, I have to be at general board of course and exec, and I have standing meetings for work, so I can't attend exec ever. So I have to always pick and choose, unfortunately. So I also just, as someone who works in the travel industry, Thursday nights are horrible for people, especially around like long weekends and just weekends in general. So I do think that Wednesdays or Tuesday would be better. It looks like currently there's like not a lot of meetings on Wednesdays. Is that right, Etha?
Looking at the calendar, we only have landmarks, preservation parks on the first Wednesday. We don't have anything for the second Wednesday or the third, but bear in mind that would coincide with the day before general board.
Yeah.
Now, Monday, we have the second Monday available. So I would say the second Wednesday, second Monday as a possible.
And Tuesdays are already booked up, right?
Oh, yes. Tuesday, we have Echo Dev, we have youth, we have housing, and on occasion, we have strategic planning.
Okay.
I would prefer Monday to Wednesday. I have a standing thing on Wednesdays. Literally any day but Wednesday is good for me. Tuesday also works, but it clearly doesn't work with the schedule.
So that would look like the second Monday.
Establishments that we're going to.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if there's a conflict.
Mondays are, I feel like, probably really tough.
Yeah, just as bad as Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know. Oh man. I mean,
I can do second Wednesday.
Yeah, I could do second Wednesday too.
I cannot do Wednesday.
Can't do Wednesdays? Okay, that's two people I can't
I
do
can
Wednesdays.
do whatever the rest of the team decides on.
We have two people I can't do Wednesdays. All right, Rhea?
I just can't do Tuesdays.
Okay. Chris?
You can do Wednesday.
I work Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
That's not gonna work.
Wednesday would play better.
I mean, I work.
I'm going to have a clash on Mondays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this?
No, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can move exactly.
Yeah. Sounds like, I think, well, two people, right now I'm the only person, yeah, so I don't think it works. We'd have to keep it on Thursday, bro. If two people are gonna be missing out on it.
Well, we can move the chair.
Yeah, no, hell no. Oh.
And I assume Friday doesn't work for anybody.
What did you say, Jordan? I'm sorry.
I assume we haven't said Friday. I assume Friday doesn't
Don't
work for
meet on
anybody.
Fridays.
Okay, didn't mean to cause a
Under
riot.
no
Sorry.
circumstances do we meet on Fridays.
Yeah, okay. I mean, how, like,
So
how?
you can't do Mondays, right?
Mondays is fine. It's better than
You can't do
Wednesday.
Mondays. Okay. All right. Sounds like
There's only one.
on Mondays.
I mean,
Yeah,
sure.
it's two for Wednesdays.
Yeah, if you want to switch to Mondays, I just won't come.
I don't know if that works.
I'm fine on Monday.
I'm
Jordan?
completely fine with Monday. I like Monday.
I don't know. You said what? How are Mondays? How are Mondays for you?
As I said, Mondays are good. We only have, the first Monday is out. It would be the second Monday.
Yeah, the first Sunday would be a little harsh.
Do you have a class?
I have a, well, I could double check. I don't have the other board schedule yet.
First Monday, we have arts and culture, and we have health and environment on the first Monday.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we're keeping Thursdays. It sounds like. All right. Well,
We tried.
We tried. We tried to make it work, but all right. Thanks, Yutha. I really appreciate it.
So it's gonna remain on the first Thursday?
It's gonna remain the first Thursday. Maybe I can
Or,
I have to figure something out with the
I mean,
second
if
thing.
the schedules have not come out for the next term for the other boards, so Monday can still be in play if it's like the second Monday. So Monday, Wednesday. Those are the days I would propose, like Monday, Wednesday.
Is Monday bad for you?
No, I can do Mondays. Yeah.
Okay.
We were like for the
So
sake of
Monday is
arguing
just bad for Felipe and Chris.
Yeah.
But I can try to work with Monday.
The Mondays will get probably moved around sometimes, so because a lot of holidays fall in there. But I mean, whatever. I mean, it'll be the next Monday, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess
If Tuesdays do open up, it does sound like nobody here has an issue with Tuesdays. It's just that they're. Oh, never mind.
Oh, she's got a pop
Tuesday
up.
will
Okay,
not
so
be opening up. That's a very busy day of the week for
it feels
the
like everyone's in
first
town.
Tuesday, second Tuesday, even the third Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm looking
Right.
at the calendar.
So yeah,
What's the fourth Tuesday? It would be after,
What,
unfortunately, it would be
Fridays?
out of sequence.
yeah.
Maybe I was thinking, no. I think Monday, like I'll work around it.
Get clear with Monday.
Well, no, wait, Juan can do Monday, I thought.
Yeah, why you can do Monday, right?
Oh, so do we want to try to move to Mondays?
And bear in mind, it's the second Monday.
Yep.
That's good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh wait, Ted's mute. Oh wait, Ted's trying to say something. You're muted, Ted.
Had a busy social calendar.
Oh, Ted, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Second Monday.
So it's Monday then.
Second Monday. No, but
Well,
Ted's
we're trying
trying
to get Ted's input here.
Yeah, Ted. Sorry, we can't hear you. Do you want to try to call me?
You have to click unmute.
Yeah. Maybe if you hit your space bar. I think if you hit your space bar.
I can.
By the way, y'all, goodies from Steam Coast JS right there. If anyone wants a little cookie. I forgot to mention that at the top.
I'll give Michael a call first before I share the.
Okay.
Is he calling somebody? He's calling you?
I don't know who he's calling.
My phone's dead.
And
Oh,
something called.
he's trying to call.
Who are you calling?
He's not calling me.
Oh, is he calling you?
Ted, my phone's dead, so you can't.
Don't call Felipe. His
Don't
phone's
call
dead.
Felipe. My phone's dead. What do we call you?
But we can see that he's muted, right?
Yeah,
We can unmute him. I think you can unmute him.
My
I'm
phone's dead.
fine. I can't unmute him. I asked him to unmute, and he's not unmuting.
Come on, Ted. We've worked through this before. It's the little microphone.
Oh, there we are. Yay!
Yeah,
There
let's
we
go,
go,
Ted.
Ted. Yeah.
Okay, I want to point out, I want to point out that there are a number of Mondays that are holidays. And so that's going to screw things up somewhat.
So, Yutha, what happens if like there's a holiday that falls on a second Monday?
Let's do the next one.
It just goes to the third Monday then?
Well, we try to stay away from the third Monday because that's either right before or after the general board, depending on how the calendar falls. So we squeeze it in with another meeting that already exists. So it's like, I'm sorry to say, it's like a stepchild throwing it around.
So like we would meet in there or something, like in the other room.
I hate
Yeah.
to use that term, please excuse it, but.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just take a look at the calendar for the second Monday going into the year
Yeah.
and see how many holidays there are.
Yeah, I'll see how many holidays get impacted by it, but I think
I mean, worst case, can't we just bring it back to?
we'll move it to
Thursday
like
slot?
that like Thursday for that month or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're good with the second Monday, you said?
Look at-
Do we need like a vote? Is that a vote, you think?
Are we okay with?
So that will start in September.
I vote yes.
I vote yes as well.
Yes,
I vote
yes,
yes.
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 Okay, barring like any investigation into holidays and like true impact, but I think we're good on that.
Pending any friendly amendments.
Yeah.
So
Right.
starting September 2026, UST will be meeting on the second Monday of the month going forward.
Yes.
Do you think Victor will veto that?
Yeah.
What
Well,
about,
if the committee is taking a vote, I'll speak to Victor. I don't want to speak for the chair, but in the past, it's never been a problem, but I'll speak with him. But if I know the first thing he's gonna say, what was the consensus of the committee?
Yeah, and the
so-
only other thing that's probably urgent is I think when anybody got appointed or reappointed, they got their welcome letter, and I think it directs them to
Oh, you're right.
the committees with the dates, so we would just want to get whatever that is updated, so if people are putting in their preferences, they know it's.
well, that will come out in September.
Yeah, committee assignments aren't until September. Yeah.
So the only issue we had, I think of folks from Uniform Services, the actual presenters.
Oh, yeah.
An issue.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to notify
yeah.
them. We'll have to make some phone calls.
All right, you're the best.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right,
we're going forward.
Co-chairs, if you can shoot Victor and CC me an email stating that a vote was taken at the last UST meeting. And it looks like a overwhelming yes for the second Monday. If you could shoot an email stating that, that would be great.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Got it.
Lyle, tell Lyle right away.
Yeah.
We need him.
Was that the last thing?
I think that was the last thing. Does anyone else have
And
anything?
you also have to bear in mind your agencies that you invite to the meeting.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Yeah, we're gonna send a
I mean,
phone
it's
call.
not like sanitation ever comes anyway.
I know. Well, they were supposed to come this month, but they're coming to general board.
You should get HPD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
what other
other-
random agencies could we invite?
Exactly. Any other new business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Nice.
So again, we only have one action item, and that's the KIPP school.
And the getaway.
Yes,
letter of
reso
support.
for the getaway. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll send that to you. Yeah, we're gonna do oh, we didn't talk about that. But basically, I wanted to write a letter of like support, I guess, in like to the agencies or like yeah, right, a letter of support, letter of recommendation to all the agencies involved, to the mayor in general, about like what the heck is going on at the getaway at 151st and Riverside. I'll circulate that to the committee, but it's basically gonna be like, please do anything and everything you can to help the small business.
Not to go nuclear, but are there any media outlets that we think could be friendly
That's what I
to that?
said.
Yeah, he's resistant to that because he thinks he might get backlash.
I'll forward it on.
I think it could be,
Backlash
like,
from
I
the
think it could be a
agencies.
good story.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you find, like
It's
you
up
said,
to you.
like
I mean-
a friendly outlet.
You know
that
what it
would,
is? I just don't know how Parks would react because Parks likes to try to keep everything in-house.
Yeah, he also
like,
mentioned there's
you know,
an issue
you know
with
the politics of
asbestos.
it much more.